Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to this webinar. My name is Gary Hickey, and I'm the chair of the International Patient and Public Involvement Network, who are hosting this particular webinar. Please do say hello in the chat and let us know where in the world you're from. We do pride ourselves on having an international audience at these webinars, and these webinars are a real opportunity to share knowledge and learn from each other. The webinar today is on the hot topic of evaluating or measuring our patient and public involvement in research, or indeed community involvement and engagement, whatever terms you use in your part of the world. And so a very warm welcome to Jennifer Mohammadi, who's a research assistant at King's College, University of London, and also to Sophie Scott-Thorburn, a public contributor who's been working with Jenny. So hello to both of you. And in the interest of transparency, I should declare that I've also had the pleasure of doing some work on this project. And so I know very well about some of the great work that Jenny and Sophie have been doing. But before I hand over to Jenny and Sophie, some housekeeping. So Ricky, next, thank you very much. So your microphones will be muted to prevent any background noise for the duration of this webinar. You can turn the subtitles on or off. You will see on the click on the show hide captions, the CC button at the bottom of your screen. And please do ask questions because there will be time for Q&A in this webinar. So on the chat function, please do add some questions in the chat box, and that's at the bottom of your screen. So Jenny and Sophie are going to talk for roughly 20-30 minutes. And then after that, we'll have time for a Q&A before we wrap up. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Jenny and Sophie, and welcome again.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen as practiced and hope for the best. Okay, Gary, can I just check that you can see my slides?
We can see that perfectly. Thank you, Jenny.
Great. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining. I'm Jennifer Mohammadi, PhD student and research assistant at King's College London. Today, I want to share what happens when people with lived experience are not just consulted, but are partners in designing research. So why focus on impact specifically? Because if we can't show the difference that patient and public involvement, or PPI, makes to the science, to decisions, to the people who are involved, we leave the door open to tokenism. So I'll be sharing how our patient forum shaped a new diabetes distress intervention, what changed because of their input, how we learned to do PPI better, and what PPI members say they've gained. We also have Sophie joining us, who is a member of the patient forum, who will be sharing sort of her experiences of being involved in the research. Gary, can I check that my slides have changed?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. So just to give a bit of context around the study. So the de-stress study focuses on diabetes distress in adults living with type 1 diabetes. Diabetes distress refers to the overwhelm and burden of living with diabetes and its relentlessness. Almost half of adults with type 1 diabetes experience this, yet there currently is no NHS treatment pathway. So our study has three goals: to adapt and combine existing international interventions, to test their feasibility within the NHS, and deliver a care pathway for the prevention, detection, and management of diabetes distress. And to achieve this, we knew that we needed people with lived experience of diabetes involved at every step. So how did we involve people with diabetes? We recruited 14 people with lived experience of type 1 diabetes from across the UK, representing a wide age range. Each member had one-to-one orientation before joining a PPI-specific sort of training where they rated their confidence and understanding at the start and at the end of the session, which with each and every score improving. Across the 7 co-design workshops, members shaped the intervention by adapting international tools, by reviewing content for language, tone, accessibility, and cultural fit, and challenging any assumptions. We also ran reflective sessions aligned with UK PPI standards to gather feedback on the process itself. So this helped us refine our approach to be more inclusive and accessible. And for example, one of the changes we made was when members asked for more space to share experiences and support each other, we introduced informal pre-workshop peer chats, transforming sort of the dynamics within and the focus of the following workshops. So what do we mean by impact? When we talk about impact in this project specifically, we mean 3 things. First, the difference involvement makes to the research itself and to our decision making. Second, how well our PPI plans and activities actually work in practice. And third, the impact on our patient forum members, whether they feel valued, supported, and heard. So by capturing and sharing all 3 of these, we drive real improvement or aim to. So in our reflective sessions, we asked patient forum members a set of key questions. I'll just read out a few of them just to give you a bit of a flavour. So how clear were you about what we were trying to achieve in the co-design workshop? To what extent did you feel that your voice and opinions were heard and listened to within the workshop? How satisfied are you with the level of communication before, during, and after the meeting, etc.? As the project evolved, we added new questions to make sure feedback stayed relevant. We made sure that the questions reflected the UK public involvement standards, things like inclusivity, working together, support and learning, communication, and governance. So for example, we ask about accessibility, which reflects the standard of inclusive opportunities. And we asked about the extent to which people felt their voices and opinions were heard and listened to, which reflects the standards, working together, i.e. valuing all contributions, and governance, i.e. making a difference to decisions. And of course, the whole exercise is designed to assess the standard impact. These sessions weren't one-off check-ins, they became a continuous cycle of feedback and improvement, helping us monitor change over time and adjust our approach in real time. Here are some of the action points that were taken away at the end of reflective sessions, and this just demonstrates the PPI impact on the PPI activities and involvement processes. So again, just reading out a couple of examples, some of the things that came up was adding sort of action required to subject lines of emails when needed, providing one-page summaries of workshops before each reflective sessions as sort of a reminder of what it is we spoke about, checking in before workshops to make sure materials were understood, doing sweep rounds after coming out of breakout rooms within meetings, having that pre-workshop informal peer support session, making sure that we have more group discussions rather than sort of filling the agenda with loads of breakout rooms, and just making sure that diabetes related terminology was explained in plain language where necessary, making sure that we weren't including medical jargon. And here are some of the examples of how patient forum members felt impacted by being involved in the study. And again, this is something that we attained from our reflective sessions. Reading through another couple of examples, patient forum members mentioned feeling a strong sense of purpose and contribution, forming meaningful friendships, the experience being affirming, validating, fostering a sense of feeling seen and heard, having learning opportunities, having peer support, being exposed to other experiences and that helping their understanding of sort of their experience of their type 1 diabetes, feeling motivated to seek out more peer support opportunities moving outside of this sort of research group. We've had one member note that their last sort of healthcare appointment was more meaningful because of the insights that they had gained from our workshop. And another member noted that the involvement had helped with their academic work, such as sort of a research module. And obviously the feedback from our patient forum led to real tangible changes and had impact on the research itself. So we heard that there needed to be more positive messaging. So we added more affirming language and visuals. When we were trying to combine these international interventions, we heard that some examples just weren't UK specific enough. So we replaced some US case studies with more sort of relatable activities. We heard that we were having too many breakout rooms, so we had more group discussions and fewer breakout rooms. We heard that people wanted to connect with each other, and so we added the pre-workshop informal peer chats. And we also heard that some of the tools just weren't clear enough, so we reworded tools and added visual aids. Our impact also goes beyond academic publications. Together with the Patient Forum, we produced 2 powerful blogs. One was written by Tracy, who brought not only her own voice, but also her late son's memory to the Patient Forum after he passed away from type 1 diabetes-related complications. The other was by Callum, reflecting on his journey as one of our youngest Patient Forum members. And these stories reach wider audiences, highlighting the human side of research and giving members visibility and influence beyond just the academic space. So in our final workshop, we celebrated the progress from 6 co-design workshops, had researchers demonstrate and reflect back to the Patient Forum the actual impact they had on the study, and showcase the final design. Too often, PPI members contribute but never actually get to see the finished product. We were determined to close that loop, because without seeing the outcome, how can members know that they've been listened to or that their input has made an actual difference? And here they could. And members recognized their own words in the materials. One said, "I saw a key phrase I'd used appear in the final content." And another reflected, "It was really powerful and valuable. It made my investment of time worthwhile." And that, to me, is what genuine involvement looks like. People can clearly see their fingerprints on the work that we're trying to do. Now, I will hand over to Sophie, one of our Patient Forum members, who will sort of share the feedback we received in our final reflective session, followed by sharing what her personal journey through the study has been so far. So, Sophie, over to you.
Hello, thank you, Jenny. Yeah, well, if I read back through these points that you've got here, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my experience of working on this project. So Patient Forum members appreciate, me being one of them, appreciated seeing how their input directly shaped the project. This is probably the biggest project I've seen come together and actually be released. So that was really critical for all of us. We felt we didn't want to be involved in something that wasn't meaningful or hopefully going to be out there in the world. The purpose and structure. Workshops had clearly defined objectives and a consistent, well-planned structure. I don't think they could have been any clearer. The agenda and slide packs gave time to prepare and contribute meaningfully. Communication. Communication before, during, and after the workshops was highly praised. Emails, sorry, my little chats are popping up in the way. Emails, follow-ups, reminders, everything was spot on. I haven't been on a project with this level of consistent, clear communication. These are obviously things that we, as the forum members, have said. Sorry, this little thing keeps getting in the way. Voices heard and valued. Patient Forum members saw their input reflected in the outputs and felt genuinely listened to. Yeah, I think that was really important. I can't actually see the bottom line. Sorry, Jenny.
Sorry. I'll just read out that quote if you can't see it. The quote says, "You could see where things we said had been directly taken on board."
So safe and inclusive space, again, this was really fundamental to all of us. The environment fostered respect, openness, and psychological safety. There was no judgment, everything was authentic. Over time, I felt safer and more included. It became a space that I could be myself. accessible and inclusive design. Format, language and technology worked well for diverse participants. Everything was accessible from the timings to the tech. Jargon was explained clearly and we gradually built shared understanding. Personal growth and learning. Participants gained insight, confidence and deeper self-understanding. I didn't expect to gain a deeper understanding of my own relationship with diabetes. I've learned so much about how research really works. Okay, so I've made some notes, so you have to bear with me as I kind of follow them. But my experience, my name's Sophie, I live in Swansea in South Wales. I've been type 1 diabetic for 40 years, and I've definitely had my fair share of ups and downs in that time. I first got involved with this project after seeing a Diabetes UK post on Facebook, and it absolutely struck a chord with me because of the experiences I've been through, and I knew how important this research could be and the difference a project like this would have made definitely to my earlier years, you know, my late teenage years, early adult years as a type 1. The whole process from start to now has been absolutely brilliant. Jenny and Gary have been so organised and so on top of everything, with plenty of notice and structure for every bit that we were involved in along the way. The communication on this project has been absolutely brilliant. The reflective sessions were particularly valuable as they were small groups, which meant extra time for discussion and feedback as to what we thought worked, but equally what we thought didn't work quite so well. There was one particular exercise which Jenny may have referred to earlier, which I think we all found a bit complicated. It involved lots and lots of different slides that we had to put into different categories. And I think the aim was that we printed them out before the session, but lots of people didn't have access to printers and things like that. So when it came to doing the project in the meeting, we all got a bit lost and all found it a bit sort of not pointless, but overwhelming, I suppose. So after the reflective session on this, a whole new system was created where those slides could be just dropped into different boxes as we went along, and made the task much more simple and very, very productive. Another great thing, especially for someone like me, to come from the reflective sessions, was the realization that we needed at least a good half an hour extra before the meetings to catch up on each other's lives. As we went through the process, we all became, well, fairly solid friends, I'd say, and we started to, the meeting started to be a bit more about us catching up on each other's lives. So providing this extra space meant we all got that out of the way, and then the meeting was much more productive, and we actually got what we were meant to be doing in the meeting done. Most importantly, Jenny and Gary have always been so available to us as participants and so clear about us all having choices as to what we joined in or not. And at absolutely any point, we could sort of drop out if we wanted to, or even just for that session, whatever was needed, which made for a very safe environment to us all be able to share our opinions and feelings. Being part of this project has had a massive positive impact on my life. I've met lots of lovely new people who I now consider to be friends. Mostly, I felt completely heard and validated. I feel as though we were all making valuable contributions to the project and that these were taken into account at every point. So that's all I've got to say really, but it's just been amazing. And like I said, the involvement of this is that we all feel that we were all listened to, everything we said was taken into account and put in place to provide the space that we all needed to make this project happen.
Thank you, Sophie. And I think you've summarised perfectly why involvement is so important to do properly, but also why groups like these make me really happy to be able to do what I do. So thank you so much, Sophie. Just to finish, I want to leave you with 5 key learning points. First, consistent and clear communication is vital before, during, and after involvement activities. This includes being very clear about the objectives of said involvement activity. Second, respect and relationships matter. Simple check-ins and debriefs make people feel seen. Third, ongoing reflection leads to continuous live improvement. So you can learn and change in the moment with the flow of the project rather than evaluating processes at the end and only being able to take the learnings forward to the next project. Fourth, involvement creates belonging. It builds community, not just research. And finally, this was never about ticking a box. It is a genuine partnership without hierarchies, building an open and non-judgmental space. And over time, this giving members the confidence to be fully transparent and challenge us where we needed to be challenged, which was very welcome. And these principles will be carrying us forward as we progress the de-stress study, continuing to embed PPI all across our various work packages. Thank you. I think that's it from me, Gary, and I'm handing back over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Sophie.